Forgive me. Oh, yes. Moving on to the third story of the day, we have the opposite of Ralph Yarl. We have neighbor shoots and injures 6-year-old North Carolina girl after she chases her basketball into his yard. From the Post-Millennial, Singletary remains on the run. A 6-year-old girl in Gaston County, North Carolina, has been left with bullet fragments in her cheek after her neighbor, Robert Louis Singletary, opened fire on her and her parents over a stray basketball. Singletary allegedly became enraged and began firing at the children and parents, striking or grazing them with bullets. Kinsley White, the young girl injured in the shooting, was interviewed by the local news station, WSOC, where she asked, "Why did you shoot my daddy and me? Why did you shoot a kid's dad?" Singletary remains on the run, and police have described him as armed and dangerous. And do you see the mainstream blowing up about this? No, you don't. I do see, however, a lot of right-wing pundits pointing out to this, maybe getting about half of the total hype volume traffic engagement as the Ralph Yarl story. But what you're not going to see, again, you're not going to see people coming out of their houses with pickets, signs, pitchforks, torches, demanding that people get their guns taken away because of this instance of violence. Because people on the right understand why it is necessary to defend your property and all of the different sort of just congruencies that fall along with that. And so, alas, we won't see the mainstream covering it in the same just violent rhetoric they cover the Ralph Yarl case, which has every ounce of anti-white sentiment inside of it, along with the fact that you have his grandson, the grandson of Austin Lester, coming out and saying with Don Lemon on air that, unfortunately, well, my grandfather is a stock American Christian conservative, and it's no wonder he did what he did. You know, implying that people who are older Christian white males just naturally have these racist tendencies that would lead you to causing some kind of just violent outburst, which would be killing someone who rang the doorbell, when it's altogether just a toxic nature. But I'm pointing at this out to you because this is an extremely similar situation, but not nearly getting the news coverage in the way that the media is handling with the Ralph Yarl and Austin Lester case. Quite honestly, this is a much more egregious use of force versus what actually happened in the Ralph Yarl case. The Ralph Yarl case, you can at least say, well, because of all of the conflicting reports, we don't really... 629. Entered the wrong house. 634. Rang the wrong doorbell. Okay, two completely different things. If he actually entered the house, or was like yanking on the door to open it, and there's an 84-year-old man who's never seen this guy in his life, he looks at the kid and he's like, that kid could easily overpower me if he gets in this house. What do you expect him to do? Do you want him to be like, you know what, go ahead, like just come on in, I'll take my chances? No, he didn't want to take a chance. He was scared. The reports was that he was lying down when this happened. So he's just freshly waking up and he feels he would probably imagine or feel like he's being broken into. No wonder he took the decision that he did. If this is true how the Post-Millennial is describing it, no wonder Singletary's on the run. Right? He's probably on the run because he knows he's completely in the wrong and that some ball bounced into his yard, and albeit maybe it bounced into some of his nice petunias and ruined them and it made him angry, but that's no reason that you would then take a violent action such as unloading on the girl and her parents. But again, you won't, like, where the outrage could be applied is on this story right here. This is where outrage could be applied. What is this ridiculous outburst that a ball rolled into your yard and you're going to start lighting up a 6-year-old? That's insanity. That's just that's toxic masculinity, having some kind of like frustration outburst. And there's honestly really no way you could kind of describe it, because how would you, as a grown male, sit and see a 6-year-old girl coming into your yard after a basketball and be able to look someone in the eyes and say you feared for your life? You couldn't. But in the Ralph Yarl and Austin Lester case, there's like 10 different ways you can be like, well, what if he thought this? It's like there are different ways you can argue yourself into understanding the position of, I understand why he would have shot. Stories like this, there's no point in time where you would sit there and go, ah, yes, I understand why he shot. No. Basketball rules. Dude, someone quite literally bumps into me at the gym. That's a much more violent reaction to something happening to me than someone getting a ball rolled into their yard. And to think like the reactions or the outbursts of people or young people these days who are like, mid-20s or so, is to let loose, let him loose, and then be mad that people like Austin Lester want to defend themselves so bad. Well, bro, clearly if you roll the basketball into the wrong yard, you're getting shots at you. So why wouldn't every functioning American citizen not want to put a 9mm in their backpack? And on top of that too, in light of the things you see in like recency with Chicago, when you see the stuff that's been happening in Nashville, the electric violence is in the air right now. It is very well and apparent just the kind of social fabric that we exist in right now when it comes to just the tensions when you leave your house. People like to deny that it exists, or people like to downplay it, but it's not. That is not a realistic way to view or pursue truth or how you should actually act. It's unfortunate because there's comments even on my videos about fleeing cities because things are just so bad, because people are just so quite literally terrified of a mob showing up around their house. Maybe not even a mob. Maybe it's just the blatant violent crime that's been an uptick in the last couple of years. And then